Delores, the pastor's daughter, and welcome to your daily dose of discernment. Again, my name is Delores, the pastor's daughter. I am your discernment and relationship coach. Okay, I am a nationally certified counselor and an international best-selling author. And in today's video, we are going to get into discernment and spirituality. As soon as we get back. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Excuse me. Good morning to you. Well, I guess it depends on where you are. So, and depending on what time you're watching. So, if it's not morning where you are, then good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. So, today we are going to get into discernment and spirituality. This is chapter 2 of the book that we've been reading, A Yearn to Discern by R.L. Maco, and it's finding purpose and fulfillment through discernment. And I just wanted to come on just for a few minutes and kind of give you like a little dose of discernment, because when we think about discernment, I think that we have really complicated um this whole concept of discernment. But more than likely you've been using discernment already in your everyday life, but you probably just haven't contributed your decision making to actual the discernment process, right? Or you haven't really activated discernment to the point where you have using or used its like the fullness of what discernment is and all the capabilities that it has, right? So as we are getting into this whole topic of discernment, I just want to like give you like little bits, as we go along to try to build up this foundation of discernment so that you know that what it is, how to use it, how to activate, how to elevate your discernment, and how to really use discernment in your everyday life, right? So today we are getting into discernment and spirituality. Now, this is where I really think that a lot of the conversation around discernment really kind of goes wrong, is because I think that a lot of people think of discernment as this, this vast or this, really grand spiritual concept, right? But that does it a bit of a disservice, right? Because we could be using discernment in our everyday life. I mean, there is a discerning of spirits, right? Which is a spiritual gift. But we are not talking about discernment on that level just yet, right? We are talking about discernment just in its basic levels and how we can just build a foundation of discernment. But in chapter 2, we get into a bit of that concept of discernment and spirituality. So let's go ahead and start reading chapter 2, okay? Now, this is what it says. And again, this book is by R.L. Maco, and the information about the book is in the description. So you should go and get it, obviously, because it's a really good book. And it also has sections in here that you can fill out, right? And questions, reflective questions at in the middle or at the end of each chapter, so that you can kind of reflect on your past and your present and your future discernment decision making. Okay, so let's get started with chapter 2. And this is what it says. If you've ever ventured out to research books written on the subject of discernment, you will find there are books that address discernment in the spiritual realm, and then books that discuss discernment in the secular context. Okay. Even essays or blogs you may find on the topic of discernment are crafted in two separate categories. One is discernment and spirituality, or two, discernment in everyday life situations. I've even come across writings that discuss discernment as if it's a talent or gift that is received by some and not others. Okay, now that's the key here. Okay, Because some of us think, okay, well, I don't have discernment. I haven't been given this gift of discernment, but everybody has discernment, okay? And we discussed this in previous chapter, right? That your ability to discern, right, is dependent on you, on the individual, okay? Which means that if you are practicing discernment, if you are honing that skill, then you can increase your ability to discern over time, okay? So, some of these writings focus on the goal of finding out if you possess the gift of discernment or not. I find these positionings on the subject matter of discernment to be problematic and conflicting. The notion that spiritual discernment and everyday discernment must be treated separately ignores the relationship between the two and how one affects the other. And furthermore, I find it reckless to discuss discernment as if only a chosen few possess the ability to discern as a gift or talent, while others remain out of luck. This is not how discernment works. Although I am in complete agreement that discernment is a gift from God, it is a gift given to all of us, okay? Not a chosen few. Unfortunately, many of us fail to take advantage of this gift, and therein lies the problem, okay? Now, right out the gate, okay? Chapter 2 is letting you know, look, you got it, babe. You've got the gift of discernment. You were born with it, okay? It's not something that, well, okay, you got it. And you got it. You don't got it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. We got it, okay? You got it. So, to be more specific, let's go back to the roots of the word discern. In addition to the definitions of the word discern discussed in chapter 1, it is no coincidence that the word discern/discernment is found throughout several books in the Bible, both in the Old and New Testaments. This is a significant fact to consider in your understanding of discernment. The Holy Bible makes various references to discernment with respect to understanding God, gaining wisdom, establishing truth, and other biblical contexts surrounding the processing of information, such as knowing right from wrong, good and evil, and the revelation of God. Throughout this book, I will consistently highlight an important fact about discernment that one should not forget. Discernment is a God given internal element, the way intuition is a God given internal element. Okay. Now, notice here that she listed intuition, right? And discernment as two different things. Okay. So that's one thing to remember, is because a lot of people think intuition and discernment is the same thing, and it is not. Okay. But we'll get to that. The point to be made is that spiritual discernment begets daily discernment and ultimately flows into the same stream. The initial understanding of discernment starts with the acknowledgement and acceptance of spiritual lessons in discernment and applying them to your everyday life in order to achieve clarity in understanding God, your life, and your purpose in the world. In other words, both realms of discernment, spiritual and secular, are intimately connected. Okay? Intimately connected. Therefore, it is misleading for one to discuss the spiritual realm of discernment and not discuss daily discernment and vice versa, right? Cuz it's a flowing stream. They both flow together, right? Even worse, It is negligent for anyone to treat them separately as if one does not impact the other. That is a mistake you do not want to make. Okay? The problem with discussing discernment in the spiritual context is that some people think you are only speaking to certain segments of the population when you dare discuss God, spirituality, and the meaning of life. Okay? This is not just some grand Christian concept, okay? This is not some religious concept. Discernment is a God given gift that everyone has. And when we talk about spiritual discernment and daily discernment, they flow together, okay? We are all spiritual beings, regardless of what your religious affiliation is or the lack thereof. You are a spiritual being. Okay. So when we talk about spiritual discernment, it doesn't matter what religion you are or if you're not into religion at all. Okay. Keep that in mind. Now, let's go back. The problem with discussing discernment in the spiritual context is that some people think you are only speaking to a certain segment of the population when you dare discuss God, spirituality, and the meaning of life. Some people will shut down immediately when you acknowledge the presence of God and God's hand in finding one's purpose. We would be it would be preferable and possibly sell more books if this book spoke about God in a vague sense and solely used the word spirit or universe to discuss spiritual discernment and the role it plays in our lives. Some people would feel more comfortable if that's how I'd position any discussion of discernment and spirituality. However, I would be doing myself and the topic of discernment and anyone attempting to learn how to discern properly a disservice by not staying true to the source, the understanding, the power, and the meaning of discernment. Therefore, I simply will not do it. Okay, this is what RL Maco is saying. Okay, this is where we are right here, y'all. This is what RL Maco is saying. Okay, let's keep going. The truth of the matter is, discernment is not a comfortable topic to discuss and dissect. Anyone who wants to either learn how to discern properly, improve upon their discerning skills, or learn how to discern more consistently will need to understand discernment entirely. And that includes acknowledging the source and the strength of discernment. One cannot be willing to accept only certain aspects of discernment and think they will achieve maximum fulfillment in life. Therefore, understanding the source and certainly the spiritual source of power that stands side by side with the ability to discern is a pivotal part of grasping its concept and being able to put it into practice effectively. Okay, y'all following? Moreover, most humans possess the ability to discern. We actually start discerning as children. Remember, I kept telling y'all that, right? Babies have discernment. We actually start discerning as children, even though we do not know that's what we are doing. We will discuss children and discernment in a subsequent chapter. But you should know that absent neurological and developmental disabilities, we all begin discerning early in life. Okay. But as we experience life more and more, and our personalities and character traits settle in, we balk at discernment. as we allow people and things to influence our lives, oftentimes without even knowing it. Do y'all hear that? We have it. Babies have discernment, right? But as we develop our personalities, our character, as that all of that starts setting in, right? Then we're like, discernment begins to be a thing that we don't really accept because we're allowing all of these other things to influence our life. Okay. Despite what we allow to get in the way, our ability to discern is given to us with the intent that we use it to gain understanding and wisdom as we navigate life. Discernment is not meant to be used by only a chosen few. Okay? Discernment is not meant to be used by only a chosen few. Now let's go into the next section. Living by the golden rule, okay? Living by the golden rule. The best example I can give to reinforce the relationship between discernment and spirituality is to discuss the golden rule. Just in case you don't know what the golden rule is, it is the rule that you treat people the way you want them to treat you. This rule may be found in more than one source, but it is firmly established in the New Testament of the Holy Bible, and that's Luke 6 and 31, which states, "And as you wish that others would do to you, do so to them." Matthew 7 and 12 states it similarly as follows. "So, whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets." Okay. So that's in Luke 6 and 31 and Matthew 7 and 12, right? So where it talks about the golden rule. Now we've heard the golden rule in a bunch of different areas of our lives, right? And not just in the Bible, but that's where it's kind of like, it's firmly established is how R.L. Maco describes it. Now, while I'm willing to bet that some people would find issue with the source of this rule, let's stay focused on its meaning and how its implication to our life will change your perspective and allow you to see and approach interactions with people differently going forward. Okay? So, even though some people might not like the fact that this comes from the Bible, don't get caught up in that part, right? Just think about it in a sense of how can this perspective allow us to see and approach interactions with people differently, right? And how we relate to one another, okay? The simplicity of the golden rule. The premise behind the golden rule is quite simple. Treat people the way you would want them to treat you. If we all thought about this rule before we spoke to someone, how differently would our words and actions be toward one another? Would we even approach someone under certain circumstances if we thought about this rule first? Think about that, okay? Let's just think about that for a minute. If we thought about this rule, right? How differently would your interactions be with people, right? When you think about approaching someone, if you thought, okay, I'm going to do them like I would want them to do me, how differently will we all behave, right? Just think about that. Would we even approach someone at all, right? Like, would we even, okay, well, I'm mad right now. So, w- do I approach this person when I'm mad? Would I want them to approach me when they're fire mad? When they've got, steam coming out of their ears? Would I want them to approach me like that? We would be totally different, right? Think about the fact that we all want to be treated with respect and dignity, right? I haven't met anybody anybody in this world who does not want to be treated with respect and dignity. I have not met not one person. Okay. Have you? Have you met one person who does not want to be treated with respect and dignity? I haven't. Keeping that thought in mind, the question becomes, when we initiate interactions, especially when we approach someone to complain or criticize, right? Because that's when it really comes into play, okay? Do we approach everyone with the same respect and dignity we expect to receive in return? Do you? Let me check myself. Do I? You know, if we thought about this rule, this golden rule, how much differently would our interactions be with each other? Also, think about this. When we are met with anything less than dignity and respect, do we respond in a way that takes into account our actions or thoughts that may have precipitated or a particular response to someone or from someone? Excuse me. Do we respond in a way that takes into account, right, our actions or thoughts that may have precipitated a particular response from someone? So, did you initiate, you know, did you initiate this response that you're getting? Now, that's food for thought, right? Think long and hard about your answers to these questions for a moment. Let's just think about that. Let's just think about that because this really comes into play, right? When we are being nasty to someone, right? When we are being critical, when we're confronting somebody, we're being conflictual, whatever, like that's when it really comes into play. Because this doesn't really come into play like when you're paying someone a compliment or when you're saying something nice, right? This comes into play when there is a little bit of contention in the air, in that interaction, right? So then we think about, okay, would I want this person to address me this way? I want dignity and respect, but am I giving dignity and respect? These are all part of discernment, right? Because we have to think about our actions and our interactions with one another. Are we bringing on the very nastiness that we don't like, right? Are we causing other people and not necessarily causing, right? But are we contributing to a lack of dignity and respect that we are receiving? And though we don't do like this victim blaming thing over here, right? We do take into account our part in our interactions with people, right? We take into account our part in what happens in our life over here on this channel. Okay. So sometimes it's the thoughts we carry around in our minds about the person or situation we are approaching that dictates how we convey a message to them. Now, how many times have we had these thoughts about a person that that interfered, right, or contributed to how we talk to them? Think about it. Think about it on a race in a race situation, right? Think about it there. This person is black. This person is Indian. This person is Muslim, right? And then now we have changed or it somehow impacted the dignity and respect that we give to that person. That person's a child, right? So now I don't have to give them dignity and respect. I mean, think about it. Think about how many kids have said, well, this adult doesn't respect me, right? But they want respect from me. Okay. Think about it in a gender issue, right? How do we talk to men and women? How do we talk to the opposite gender? Do we have a lack of respect or dignity because they are the opposite gender? Or because they are the same gender? Okay. Think about it. I can recite two life situations that come to mind when thinking about the golden rule and its application to daily life. Now, let's get into this, y'all. Okay. First of all, she's about to get into a whole situation, and this is called life situation number one. Um, RESPECT. Okay. Tell me what it means to me. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, we know it. When you hear Aretha Franklin sing the song RESPECT, you can feel the intensity of the song and its power through every verse. Can you not? Think about it, right? Everybody like everybody knows that song, right? Is it like some songs, y'all, are just like so timeless that like it doesn't matter like what generation hears it, it's just like it rings, okay? And this is one of those songs, okay? So you can even feel in you can even feel it in the inflection of Miss Franklin's voice. The song and how she sang it struck a timeless chord with the country and the world. A chord that still resonates with the world today, right? Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. Like it does, like the song is timeless, okay? This is a distinct reason why this song is identifiable to all. Why is that? Well, as humans, we all have this innate belief that we should be treated with dignity and respect. However, and ironically enough, all of us believe that we should treat others, okay, with the same respect and dignity that we all believe we deserve. Huh? How? How do you reconcile that in your mind, right? How do you reconcile that in your mind? Well, you don't deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, but I deserve it. Where? Like, where do you get off? You know? And that posturing, ladies and gentlemen, summarizes the fundamental problem the fundamental problem with humanity, and arguably the primary reason for most, if not all, of the major and minor conflicts prevalent in the world today. Can't you see it? Can't you see it in every single issue that we have in today's world? Think about the violence against women. Think about the LGBTQ issues that we have, right? Think about the children who are mistreated, who are abandoned, who are abused. Think about it. Think about it in your work environment, right? When there is a contentious work environment, you notice that it's the golden rule, right? In this idea that I deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, but you don't. Think about that. Think about how that is at the root, right, of so many problems. And that if we would just be more discerning, at least about this one thing, how much that would change our interactions with one another, how much that would change the level of violence and hatred we have in this world. Think about how much more harmonious we would be as a community, as a gender, as a race, as a country, right? As people, if we thought about this in every single interaction. Let's continue. Whether today's or yesterday's conflicts are tied to issues of religion, culture, politics, race, socioeconomics, class, gender, or any other issues that we find permeating through one's oppression and violence towards another. When we strip down the issues it to its meager beginnings, we will find that the basic issue underlying all others issues is the fundamental issue of respect and dignity, or the lack thereof. Child. She said something, Nancy. I could just start reading the book right here. And that one concept will change the world. Think about it. Think about how much a lack of dignity and respect that we have for one another has impacted every 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 conflict. Think about that. Hmm, think about that. Let me just read that one more again. One more again, okay? Whether today's or yesterday's conflict, think about that for 1 minute, okay? Because that's a powerful statement right there. Because that's saying to you that even back in the day, right, we are still dealing with the same underlying issue that we are today and that we will deal with tomorrow, right? Because of a lack of dignity and respect that we have for one another. Look, read it, okay? Whether today's or yesterday's conflicts are tied to issues of religion, culture, politics, race, socioeconomics, class, gender, and any other issues that we find permeating through one's oppression and violence towards another. When we strip down the issues to its meager beginnings, we will find that the basic issue underlying all other issues is the fundamental issue of respect and dignity, or a lack thereof. Child. Is she preaching or is she preaching, honey? Okay, like she's preaching. This book is a whole bunch of sermons. Okay, this book is giving. Do you hear me? This book is giving. And the fact of the matter is that we are a whole world, right? I can't even say we are a society, we are a culture, we are a gender, we are a race, we are a people, we are a whole world of individuals that have absolutely no respect or dignity for each other because we do not discern. We don't discern. We don't even know what it is. But we have people that tell you, well, where is your discernment? Use your discernment. But no one tells you how. How? How do I grasp this concept of discernment when there is so much misinformation? There are so many lies, right? When I'm being treated a certain way, then I lash out a certain way. Think about all of the programming that we have received that affect our ability to make sound decisions, that even affect our ability to have respect and dignity for one another. Okay, let me continue. As humans, we all expect to be treated with respect and dignity. We should all know that respect is reciprocal. Yet, we constantly find ourselves in situations where people are demanding our respect while treating us as less than deserving of respect. It's sad to say, but there are a number of people who use their prejudices, social status, wealth, education, race, and a whole host of other factors as weapons for the primary purpose of denying others of the fundamental human right, the fundamental human right of respect and dignity. And they do this while simultaneously, okay, believing that they should be automatically respected at all times. Hmm, think about that. Anyone walking around with that attitude and belief system is dangerous. dangerous. She said it and I co-sign. Okay? I second that emotion. Dangerous. Anyone walking around with this belief, right? Let me just read it again. It's sad to say that there are a number of people who use their prejudices, social status, wealth, education, race, and a whole host of other factors as weapons. 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 For the primary purpose of denying others. Just for that purpose of denying others the fundamental human right of respect and dignity. The fundamental human right. The fundamental human right. Okay? Of respect and dignity. I'm getting all into this. Like I'm feeling it, y'all, okay? And they do this. They do this while simultaneously believing that they should be automatically respected at all times. How many times? How many times have y'all seen this happen? How many? Get in the chat. Tell me, how many times have you seen this? You probably saw this growing up in your own household. Your fundamental right of being treated with human right. Your fundamental human right. You are a human being. That's what that means. It's not that you have had to do anything to get it. You are a human being. It's a fundamental human right to be treated with dignity and respect. Yet you have these people that use all of these things, their status. I mean, come on, I just wrote a whole book. A whole book. Where my book at? Where my book? Where my book at, y'all? Wrote a whole book. Provoked. Because this right here that she's talking about, this is what we are dealing with in a narcissistic world. We are dealing with people who are entitled to everything you are. They are entitled to your respect, right? That you owe them, right? And especially the religious narcissist. Huh? The religious narcissist. Entitled because they are a man of God, right? Because they are a woman of God. But what are you? I mean, what are you? Are you not a man or a woman of God? Were you not created by the Creator just like they were? Were you not? But you have these people who are walking around, right? Abusing you spiritually. This is why discernment and spirituality is so important. And this is why in this book, I wrote a lot about discernment in here because it is important that we are discerning the people that we are interacting with. And what I find is that in this narcissistic world, right, the religious narcissist is the most dangerous because they abuse your spirit being, right? Which is the core of who you are, your purpose. Why you are in this world, why you were created. That's what they attack. They are the most dangerous variety of narcissists. Let's continue. And I'm going to read this again. It's sad to say, but there are a number of people, narcissists, religious narcissists, right, who walk around that use their prejudices, their social status. Oh, I'm a pastor. Oh, I'm a prophet, right? Oh, I'm a man of God, or I'm a woman of God, right? I'm chosen. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I'm this and I'm that, right? They use their wealth. They use their education. Oh, I'm a doctor, you know? They use their race. Oh, I'm a black man, right? And a whole host of other factors as weapons for the primary purpose of denying others the fundamental human right of respect and dignity. And they do this while simultaneously believing that they should be automatically respected at all times. It's a whole joke. Anyone walking around with that attitude and belief system is dangerous. Dangerous. That's the religious narcissist. Dangerous. And unfortunately, many of us actually walk around with such an attitude. Are you that one? Hmm? Are you that one? Are you that one that uses your prejudices, your social status, your wealth, your education, your race, and whatever other reason? And now we are finding that even the LGBTQ plus, IA plus, whatever, right? Are even using the same thing. The same thing. To deny others of their fundamental human right of respect and dignity. Are you that one? Ask yourself. Because guess what? If you are the one walking around with that attitude and belief system, you are dangerous. And unfortunately, many of us actually walk around with such an attitude. Now, here is the most interesting part of all of this. If we all followed the golden rule, this problem of lack of respect, along with the conflicts it creates, would be eliminated. Eliminated. If we simply treated each other with dignity and respect. And I say simply because really, how hard is it? Really? How hard is it? Again, the golden rule is rather simple. See, she says the same thing. She says the same thing. The golden rule is rather simple. I'll respect you and you respect me. That's not hard at all. This rule does not take into account anything other than the fact that we are all human beings. That's it. That is it. That's all that is required. You're a human being. I'm a human being. Okay, let's treat each other with respect. It's not that hard. Okay, it's not that hard. It doesn't take into consideration our race, our gender, ethnicity, sexual preference, education, culture, social status, or anything else. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. What does my gender have to do with it? What does my race have to do with it? Nothing. I'm a human being. Treat me with respect. You're a human being. I will treat you with respect. That is it. That is all that is required. It's that simple. That simple. If we were to take into account anything other than the common denominator, and she underlined it. Where is it at? Look at it. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Common denominator. Underline. That's our commonality. That's where we are all the same. Because we are all human beings. So why are we looking for all of these other reasons to separate ourselves or to treat each other differently, to lack respect, lack dignity for each other, when all we have to do is just look at our commonality? Our common denominator is we are human beings. Okay? If we take into account anything other than the common denominator that we are all human beings, we now enter that slippery slope of leaving the realm of objectivity and entering the realm of subjectivity. Now it depends on, well, how old are they? Right? Oh, because we do have an age issue too, right? Because if they're too young, then they don't deserve dignity and respect. If they're too old, well, you old, then they don't deserve it. Because it comes into all of these other things begin to be the determining factor of whether a person deserves dignity and respect. But you don't want those factors to come into play when you want dignity and respect, do you? Do you? Okay? The fact that we are all human is the one and only fact that we share, right? Together. It is our universal connector. That's it. That's what connects us all. That's what connects me to someone who is on the other side of the world, totally different from me, is that they are a human being as well. Okay? No other fact applies to all of us besides the fact that we are all human. In other words, the fact that we are all human is the only fact you need in order to treat everyone with respect. That's all you need. That's all you need. That's all you need to know. I'm a human being. Okay. Any other facts are distractors. That is information used subjectively to uplift some and alienate others. I'll tell you that adding subjective considerations onto the golden rule only serve to validate some at the expense of others. Put simply, adding more information into the fact that we are all human is a flawed response that one uses when they're hurting on some level, whether they know it or not. In turn, they project that hurt on to others. This is irresponsible on so many levels. Wow. However, if we leave the subjectivity out of the equation, okay, it's not part of this. Leave it out of the equation totally. And therefore choose to discern, right? We use the golden rule to take into account the only two relevant pieces of information that make up this rule, which is the following: we are all human, and all human life should be treated with respect and dignity. That's all, folks. That's what she said. That's all. All you need to know to process and implement the golden rule is the fact that we are all human. That's it. So let's respect one another. Some of us fail to understand that giving another human being respect should be done so without any strings attached, especially strings that are attached due to a perceived social status used to prejudice and condemn another's life. Child. Let the church say amen, okay? Let the church say amen. Put amen in the chat, honey, okay? Do you understand how we could change the world just by simply following this rule in our daily lives? God, I could just imagine just this simple rule. How would our world change, y'all? Like, seriously. And I don't think this is like a pipe dream. I mean, granted, right? We're thinking about things on a spiritual level, then we know that there are demonic influences out there, right? That thrive on, right? And it's their job to create this confusion and all of this chaos, right? But if we think about how many of us are out there that will totally do this, right? Like, totally, I totally respect you. And you don't have to do anything for me to respect you. You don't have to give me anything in return, right? My respect for you is just innate. It's just gonna happen because I believe this. Like this is really just who I am, right? Right? And there are a lot of us who is just like this is just who we are. We don't have to have a rule to tell us this. We don't have to. It's just like I just like everybody deserves respect. Like this is like you know. But just think about even if this didn't come natural to a person, if they just heard this and they were like, yeah, I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, yeah, everybody is a human being. I want respect, so let me just give respect. I mean, it's really not that hard. So, like, share this video, right? Because think about if we could just grasp this concept, more of us, how we would change things. Let me keep reading. This is a rule. Let me just read that part again. Do you understand how we could change the world just by simply following this rule in our daily lives? This is a rule that flows from the spiritual realm and is cocked full of lessons in discernment. But for some people, including those who are in positions of authority and power, this rule will never be incorporated into their daily lives because it is not part of their belief system. Once again, once again, they're just not going to do it. But that doesn't have anything to do with me, though, right? Like, I can still do it. I'm just knowing, right? I'm just understanding that there are religious narcissists out there. There are narcissists out there. That there is a spiritual um, force that doesn't want this to happen, doesn't want us respecting one another, doesn't want us dignifying one another. They doesn't want that. But that doesn't mean that I can't still be that person, right? This doesn't mean that I can't still give you respect. I mean, I'm even going to respect the religious narcissist. I'm even going to respect the narcissist because guess what? They're a human being too. And it doesn't demand that they change. It's knowing, right? It's a knowing that they're not gonna, okay? But that doesn't have anything to do with me. That doesn't mean that I have to lessen my respect and my dignity and my stance, right? And my foundation and what I believe because of them. Let's continue. Said differently, some people start with the mindset that not everyone is deserving of respect. As a result, these people will continue to encounter and or create negative and life-threatening situations when they encounter others due to their behavior and overall thought process. They just not going to do, right? And that's a knowing, right? That's a discerning that we all need to have. Okay? The thought process I'm referring to is the incredulous belief that certain human lives are more valuable than others. Let's provide a scenario to make this point more tangible. For example, if you believe that I, as a female, am not deserving of respect because of my gender, your thought process will dictate that you will not treat me with respect no matter what I say or do if we have an encounter. Such a thought process is tragic. In fact, I find no other thought process more dangerous than this one. And on a global scale, persons with such mindsets create and implement policies that have caused and will continue to cause the senseless death of millions. This is why our world will continue to experience unnecessary conflict and strife that will be perpetuated from generation to generation. This type of mindset and belief system, my friends, is about as far away from discernment as you can possibly get. Think about it. Think about it. There is a hole. There is a thing known as black femicide. And if you've watched my previous videos, especially when I was doing a review of Princella the Queenmaker's videos, right? She had on there a man who was promoting the killing of black women. Just think about that, y'all. Like really think about that. And it's just like it's a sad world that we live in, that discernment is something that is within all of our grasp, right? It's already something that was it's given it to us as at birth, right? But how many of us actually use it? And then the simple fact that a lot of us have to increase our discernment skills just so that we can be safe from the people who don't use their discernment skills. Think about that. That I have to be, as a woman, as a black woman, more discerning of the situations and people that I'm around or that I could possibly be around or interact with, because they don't discern. They don't have discernment. And because they believe that just because I'm a woman, because I'm a black woman, that I somehow deserve to die. Think about that. Discernment, you guys, is you can't afford to live in this world today without it. You can't. You simply can't. You simply cannot. And it's not just me. It's not just black women. It's all women. It's children. Think about the trafficking rings that are happening. Because there are people out there that believe that children do not deserve dignity and respect, that their bodies don't even belong to them. Y'all, like, what in the world? And the fact of the matter is, y'all, and I'm gonna keep on saying this till I'm blue in the doggone face, and I'm a black woman, so y'all know I ain't finna get blue. Okay? So I'm gonna keep on saying it. You cannot live in this world today without discernment. You must activate this gift that you were already given. You already have it. You already have it. And you have to practice it. You have to put this into action in everyday situations. I am a discernment and relationship coach. Okay. And there is no more discernment is most important in relationships, in our interactions with other people, because guess what? A person who is not discerning, a person who does not believe in this golden rule that every human being deserves dignity and respect, what did R.L. Maco say? They are dangerous. They are dangerous. because they simply do not respect you. You are simply an object to be used and abused and discarded at their will. And that is not what you were created for. That is not why you were created. And I don't care who you believe in, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in Jesus, or whether you don't, whether you have some other creator, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whoever, whatever created you, you are deserving of dignity and respect. Period. There is no other qualifications that you need to have. None. You cannot afford to live in this world without discernment. Period. So, I hope that as we progress in this series of discernment, that you are taking this seriously. This is a life-saving skill. Do you hear me? This is a life-saving skill that you simply cannot afford to live without. You simply will not live without it. You won't. If you are not discerning, you will be taken out of here. If you are not making better decisions about the situations and the people that you are around and you interact with, there are people dying every day because they do not discern. Okay? So, this is where we're going to end today. We are still on chapter 2. And chapter 2 was discernment and spirituality. So we are about halfway through that chapter. And so when we get back, the next part that we're going to start is the key to upholding the golden rule. Okay, the key to upholding the golden rule. The key to upholding the golden rule. And if you are a woman who is watching this video, share this video with men. If you are a man watching this video, share this video with women. Share this video with somebody. Okay? Because if we can just spread this message of the golden rule, think about how much better our world would be. Let me read it again. Do you understand how we could change the world just by simply following this rule, the golden rule, in our daily lives? Okay? I love you guys. Remember, you are important to me. I need you to survive. And this is true, you guys. And you survive and you thrive when you have discernment, when you use discernment. Okay? So go ahead and like the video, share the video, and remember, you guys, I have an ebook out that's called The Religious Narcissist Decoded, and it is discerning the impact, right? Discerning the tactics and the impact of religious narcissism. Okay? So grab the book. Okay? Grab the book, y'all. It's an ebook. You can get it on Amazon, Kindle, or you can go to my website, thekingdomcodeacademy.com. It's in the description, thekingdomcodeacademy.com. And all you have to do is register for an account and you'll get the book for free. It's all free, okay? It's not free on Amazon though, but it's free on my website, okay? Because I simply want to connect with you. I want us to stay connected. You know, I am your relationship and discernment coach, okay? So I can help you to activate, increase your discernment, right? And become a discerning something, okay? Like you're going to be a discerning something. But so if you need to reach out to me, then you can do that on my website or you can reach out in the comment section. Send me an email at Delores at kingdomcodeacademy.com. Okay. Delores, Delores, at kingdomcodeacademy.com. Okay. So all the information should be in the description box for you. So reach out to me. Let me know you want to work with me, discerning, increasing your discernment, activating your discernment, elevating your discernment, right? And discerning in relationships, right? Then let me know. I'm here for you. I'm your girl. Okay. I love you guys, and just like and share the video on your way out. Bye bye for now.